I am sitting in a Peterbilt 387. It's a dilapidated pile of crap. The odometer says error. Unknown mileage. I'll have to hook up ET in order to be able to tell. Now, you might be wondering why I'm doing this. If you saw my reel from yesterday, I introduced you to my W9. There are all kinds of models in here. Now, what I want to do might anger some purists, if you will, but I want to take that 1981 model W900a and take the cabin sleeper off of it and put it on a late model Peterbilt chassis. We can get all of the modern benefits. Oh, about to lose my post there. There we go. We can get all the modern benefits from better braking, brakes on the front axle, period. Of course, that truck does have, but a lot of old big trucks do not have brakes on the front steer axle. ABS, we can get a late model drivetrain. This thing is sticky. We can get a electronically controlled engine with cruise control that is, by all accounts, superior in every way to that A model cat that come out in that W9. This is a truck that I picked up for, I don't know, I think it was around $6,000 running and driving. And I'm going to be honest with you, these 387s are perfect trucks to buy if you're looking for an engine or a good transmission, because they're cheap. Nobody wants this crap. Nobody's rebuilding this truck. The cab and everything around the drivetrain of this thing is junk. So, what we are going to do, I have not driven this truck. I got it with my Proto off a marketplace. So, I drug it home and it's sat here for, I don't know, probably about a year. But it comes with 10 aluminum wheels. It had around 100 gallons of diesel fuel in it. It's got a running and driving Acert Caterpillar in it, and what I hope to be a shifting operational 13-speed. And that is what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna go make sure that this truck will shift through the gears. Needs a clutch brake, or at least adjust it. I'm gonna make sure it shifts through the gears before we go rip the cab and everything that is the 387 off of this chassis that we want to use. Wondering why a truck like this, even though it is a piece of crap, will go for something as cheap as $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Now, I bought a bunch of these trucks and they're all in that same price range. Usually, when you get a hold of these, they've got issues, and almost every one of them that I've bought in this price range has been pushing coolant, meaning they've sunk a liner and the driver can't keep coolant in it and they get hot. You know what I mean? So instead of fixing it, because they're just simply not worth it, they sell the truck cheap and go buy another one. Do the jakes work? Oh, money. How about the real brakes? Yes, all right. Another very nice redeeming feature of this particular truck is just how clean the frame actually is. These trucks are horribly notorious for rotting the frame out underneath the cabin. So if you go look at one of these, make certain that you have the tools to pull the fairings off in order to inspect that frame really well. Because man, 9 out of 10 of these, the frame on these are garbage. This one is actually in phenomenal shape. Coupled with the fact that it's got DS and R mix ratios, it's going to be perfect for what I want to use it for. Now this transmission is going to be an RTLO 18913A or a 16913A. I have yet to pull the actual tag number off of it. Regardless, either one of those transmissions are very desirable. It'll be just what we're looking for. Now that was an easy little drive from our farm up to the shop down our county road. Another issue with this particular truck is that it does have some blow-by on it. And that is something else that I wanted to assess before we pull the cab off of it, because I don't want to roll this engine in another truck if the very first thing that I'm going to have to do is pull it back out and rebuild it. So let's see how bad that is. Now, as you can see, the blow-by is not very good. I was trying to get away with only pulling off the head, going through the head, maybe putting another one on that's not cracked that I've got here, and a thinner spacer plate. But unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to pull the liners out of it as well. It does have quite a bit of blow-by, more than I would like. The Acerts are known for having more blow-by than the single turbo engines, but that's going to be a little excessive. When it's fogging pretty hard at idle and it stinks, I mean, you can smell the burning oil, that's usually a red flag and when it's time to pull it apart. So while we've got it apart, I've got an inexpensive fix for that as well. It's not the end of the world. I don't want to take away from the positives that we have of this build. So stick around as we get the cab pulled off of this next and proceed with swapping the front frame horns from that W9.